So in last session of allocation, we have created our prerequisites to generate the allocation rules. So now we'll define our allocation rules. To define our allocation rules, just go to General Dashboard and from the tax panel, click on Create Allocation Rule. Okay. So create allocation rule, you can see the calculation manager dashboard is open. And here you can see in the system view, general ledger balance queue. So these balance queue are nothing but these are all the chart of account instances. Okay. So whatever chart of account instances, they are linked to your balance queue or S-base queue, and they are part of Hyperion reporting tool was seamless integration with this general ledger model. So whatever balance you create here in Oracle Fusion General Ledgers, so they will be updated in this multi-dimensional balance queue. Okay. So why it is multi-dimensional? You can see because for each of the balances, each of the journal entry, we have lot of dimension is considered to generate any reports like your segment values, your balance type, periods, and currency types, general ledger, chart of accounts. So all these are defined as dimension in balance queue. So that's why it is called multi-dimensional queue. So now, what is our specific queue? We'll navigate to our queue. Our queue means our chart of account, US chart of account. So this is our US chart of account. So just navigate to this US chart of account. So under US chart of account, you can see the DB. Okay. So DB means database, and under this you can see multiple rules has been created. So right click on these rules to create new rule for our expense allocations. So we are allocating this office equipment rental. So this is the name of our allocation rules, and application type will be S-base, and application is US chart of account, database is DB. Click on OK. So here you can see the dashboard, and in the middle section you can see begin and end, and between this begin and end we have to define our point of view and allocation. So this is the point of view, and just drag this point of view and place here. Okay. So it will create one range, member range. So what is point of view? In point of view, we actually provide our criteria, fixed criteria. Okay. So for all these dimensions, we have to set the value as the point of view. Like I mentioned earlier, like accounting period, ledger, company, you have to fix the point of view value. Okay. One by one for each of this dimension, we'll set value. Okay. Set value means our constant value you have to put here. So you have to set our constant value which are not dynamic. Okay, so that dimension we can set here. And for this accounting period, our accounting period is June 22. So select the member. So once you click on member, it will drive you to the tree. So accounting period tree. So these are part of Hyperion reporting tools, and the balance sheet I mentioned. So this is accounting period is one of the dimensions you can see here, and all these periods has been set here in tree format or hierarchical tree format here, and select your year 2022 and quarter 2. And for the quarter 2, what is the month? June month. Select here, click on OK. Because we are going to generate this allocation for month of June, ledger. For which ledger you want to create this allocation? So our ledger is fixed, so we can provide the value for our ledger. Click on member. So from all ledger, you can select US chart of account or US primary ledger. Click on OK. So what is your next value? Company. So we are generating this for company 101, and in the same way, navigate to member and select your company value as 101. Line of business. So line of business is 10. We created this journal for line of business for 10. Let me show you. If you go to journal, so for this office equipment, the journal for this accounting combination, the line of business is 10. So set your line of business in the rule also 10. Go to member. Click on OK. And account. So what is your source account which you want to allocate? So our account is office equipment rental. So what is this accounting code? So this is our account. Okay, 63550. So this is the fixed value for this dimension. We can mention in point of view. Okay, so 63550 is our office equipment expenditures. So that is the fixed value we are mentioning here for this dimension. Cost centers. Cost center is not fixed because we want to allocate the expenditures across different cost centers. So that's why this is not a fixed value. It's a dynamic value. So you have to skip it, and this cost center we can mention in the allocation rule itself. Okay, just skip this dimension. Product is fixed. So we have default value of product. Go to member. Product value is 000. Intercompany. This is also fixed. So all the fixed member dimension you can define in the point of view itself. What is the next dimension? Scenario. Scenario is actual. Okay, because we have the actual balance. Currency. So we allocate based on the total currency value. Sorry. So currency is USD because we want to allocate the expenditure which is booked in USD currency. Currency type is the total. Okay. Based on the total currency value, we want to allocate. Okay. So based on the total currency value of these expenditures, we'll allocate. So you can see for all these dimension in the point of view, I have mentioned the value except the cost center, because the cost center value is not fixed, it is dynamic. So that I'll mention in the allocation rule. So now we have defined the value for point of view. Now go to allocation, drag here into this rule area. Okay. So once you dragged it, so once you drag this allocation into this rule area, you can see the allocation dashboard is visible, and this point of view is for allocation. The first point of view, it is for all the fixed value defined. Again, the same point of view, system is asking if you want to allocate or if you want to give any value for this cost center point of view, because we skipped it during our initial point of view definition. We can skip it because we don't need to give here. Click on next. And here in the source component, what is our source? Okay. In which source we have defined this journal. So our source cost center is 210, because for this cost centers we have booked this expenditure. I can show you. So for 210 cost center, the global support cost center, we have booked this expenditure. The complete 1 lakh we have booked into these cost centers. So this is the source value. So give here the member, cost center member, you can select as 210. Okay. And what is the balance amount? So scenario will be total of allocation. So whatever amount we booked for this cost centers, so that will be the total of allocation. The balance amount will be period activity. So whatever activity we booked for June, so that will be our balance amount. Select the period activity as the dimension value, and the amount type will be PTD because that is period to date. So for specific June period expenditure we want to allocate. Click on next. So we defined our source value and allocation range. That is very important because here the cost center range we have to define, and what is the range? So this is the range. Okay, this is the parent value, and under this parent value these many cost centers are the ranges. For these many cost center we want to allocate these expenditures. How can we do this? To define our range, just give here the parent value, not the child value. Okay. If you give here the parent value, so go to the version, not select from the individual all cost center value. Go to the hierarchy I have defined. Okay. So you can see all the versions here, published version of the cost centers. So I'll select my version which I have created recently, and from this cost center tree I'll select the parent value here 200, because you can see under 200 I have all my range, all my cost centers. That's why you don't need to give any child value here, you have to give the parent value. Okay. So I have defined my allocation range. Go to next, and what will be the offset account? The same account, the source account, the same source account will be offset account also, because the same 210 account which is my source that I want to allocate. So this will be my offset account also. 210 is my offset account. The offset cost center and source cost center should be same. Why it is same? To understand this, you can leave the journal we have created. Okay. So what is the source journal we have created? So that is, you can see here. This is the office equipment maintenance account and the cost center is 210. So that is the source cost centers which is debited. And as we are allocating to different other cost centers, and eventually this account will be credited as offset entry. Okay, you can see here. So now this original debit entry will be credited, and all other cost centers will be debited. Okay, so total will be same. So this 210 total expenditures will be allocated to this many cost centers. So that's why the source cost centers and this target cost center or offset cost centers should be same. What is next? So this exclude option is to exclude any cost center, any particular cost center from the allocation. You know this 200, the parent 200 has lot many cost centers. And if you don't exclude, then whatever child value under this 200 parent value, so the expenses will be allocated to all these cost centers. But still, if you want exception, if you want to exclude some cost centers, you can mention here. I don't want to exclude anything or exclude any cost center. So my expenditure will be allocated to all the available cost centers under this parent 200. Okay. What is next? So this is basis, and this is very important. Okay. So basis means on what basis and what criteria you are allocating these expenditures. That means this is the criteria for allocating these expenses to all these cost centers. And to build this basis, we have created one star journal. Okay. So that will be the component of this basis, like accounting period. So all this dimension you have to give here in the basis option. Okay. So you notice here, like whatever point of view and dimension, whatever dimension we have provided in the point of view, all these dimension again appear here to give the value. So this is not mandatory to give all the values. Whatever mentioned in the point of view, they will be default in the basis if you don't give any value here. But for your understanding, I will again give all this value here and all the necessary dimension values. So accounting period is June 22, ledger US primary ledger, company 101, line of business 10, account. So this is very important. Okay. So this basis value we have to give. Account is nothing but this is our head count, and this head count accounting segment value will be our basis for calculation. Okay. Product is 000. Again, intercompany is also 000. So balance amount is the ending amount of the journal. And what is next? This option is to, like, system is looking if the basis is negative, what you want to do. So even if my basis is negative, my calculation should happen normal. Okay. And another option is if my basis is equal to 0, what would you like to do? Yes, if it is 0, I want to abort this allocation process. This is my option. There are other options. So, but I want to calculate as normal if it is negative, and I want to avert the allocation if the basis is 0. Next, what is the rounding option? Decimal. I don't want to give any decimal value here. And rounding difference, I want to put in the biggest value. Use the biggest value. Okay. So then save this. Exit this allocation wizard and try to validate and deploy this allocation rule. So there are 4 options you see here. One option is to save, and another is save and validate and save. Another button is to validate, and the last option is to validate and deploy. So I want to choose this validate and deploy. If everything is correct for this allocation, we have correctly defined, then this deployment should successfully completed. So you can see one error here. Can dimension used in argument and amount cannot overlap. So there is something issue with this allocation definition. So let me check what exactly is overlapping. So just review the point of view and allocation. Go to point of view, and you can see here the scenario is actual here, but in allocation I have mentioned some different scenario which is overlapping. So I can remove this scenario value from the point of view. If you see in allocation, my scenario value is different. So that's why the system is getting error. See, scenario is total of allocation here, but in point of view I have given the actual as the scenario. So I have removed this and again saved it, and I'll try to deploy this rule. Okay, click on OK. So now the system will deploy the rule. It will validate and deploy. Yeah. So now the deployment was successful. The deployment is successful means the allocation rule definition is correct. So what is the next step? So we have completed the allocation rule. We have saved, validated and deployed this rule. And now the next step is to generate the allocation. So this generate GL allocation will create the automatic allocation journal. Okay. So let us navigate to journal screen, task panel, and select generate general ledger allocation. So my rule and rule set is office equipment rental. Choose whatever allocation rule you have created, journal category. So this is important. So I have created the manual journal and source journal which I want to allocate. So my journal category is manual. Conversion rate type is corporate. Submit the allocation. So let me check if the process is complete or not. Go to tool, schedule process. So here I can see after generating the allocation program, the program is successful, but the allocation journal has not been created. So what is the issue? So you can just go to the log file and check what can be the problem. Okay, so this log file, if you see, okay, so here you can see this log file error is the terminating allocation process due to following reason. The basis defined in the allocation component does not contain balance. So that means in allocation rule, the basis option has some issue or some missing things we need to check. So let me go to basis here. Point of view, source, allocation range, and upset, exclude, and basis. So in the basis, you can see the currency option I have missed. Okay, so I have to select the currency at the start because we have created the start journal. So currency is start. Select the start journal here. Yeah, so this is the start journal we have to select here for the basis. All other things looks good. Save it. And exit, and after exit again you have to deploy this. So whenever you are making any changes to the allocation rule, you have to again validate and deploy. So no need to worry when something is going wrong or the journal is not creating. You can just come back to this rule, analyze it, and do the necessary modification. Okay, so again deployment is complete. So let us try to generate the batch again. Generate general ledger allocation. Office equipment, and my journal is manual journal. And submit. This time it should not create any error as I expect. But let us see what is the result. So program is still running. So you have to wait for the program to complete. So we have to wait for the program to complete and generate the allocation journal. It's what I was expecting. Import journal child program should trigger here. So if this import journal child program is triggering, means allocation journal has been created successfully. So now all these child programs has been completed. So we can go to journal dashboard and see. Go to manage journal. And search with source as allocation. Okay. Search it. You can see here for the office equipment rental, the allocation journal has been created. Just click on this. The amount is 1 lakh, and you can see here this is the original office equipment entry we booked for 210. Okay, For 210 cost center, we have created this entry, the first source entry. So now this cost center has been credited. Okay, so this is the offsetting line, and the complete 1 lakh has been allocated to these cost centers in the range. Okay, so now you can see, so this was our expectation. So first source entry, you can see the 210 cost center is debited and cash account has been credited. And now what allocation program did, it executed the allocation program and created the entries with allocating the complete expenditures into these cost centers and creating offsetting line for the original debit entry. Okay, so source is allocation, category is manual. So now the complete allocation journal has been created. So in this way, you can allocate your expenditures to different cost center and departments, and through this automated process using the Oracle Sheet Calculation Manager tool. So there are some other options like you can use complex formula to generate complex allocation rules. So that also we can discuss in some other classes. But for now, I hope you understand what is the allocation process and how you can do that in Oracle Fusion. So thank you guys. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to our channel and share our videos to other Oracle aspirants. Thank you guys.